Okay, even as a British person, there are some things that I didn't understand. Why do the Royal Guards wear those tall hats? Do the Brits really drink so much tea?
Huh? Oh, this? This is actually
And why is crossing your fingers good luck?
Ow, my fingers.
Welcome to my English seminar on British culture.
Alright, let's begin. So here we have 4 special pictures related to the UK. But can any of you tell me, what do these pictures show? The only hint I will give you is that they are related to the UK. Alright, so why don't we have a look? I'm gonna zoom out for you here. There we go. We have Sherlock Holmes, yeah, a very famous detective, British detective. There are lots of movies and books about this very intelligent man. The next one, the famous red telephone boxes, yeah. Nowadays, we don't have that many telephone boxes around London and the UK, and actually, they've replaced the telephone boxes, or rather inside they put a lot of like old books, and some people use them as kind of like not a bookstore, but like you can borrow books and kind of, it's a really cool system. But anyway, telephone boxes. In the bottom left, of course, we have some wonderful British tea. I don't know what kind of tea, but maybe it's like English breakfast, which is quite popular over here. The next one, let's have a look. The Royal Guard. We will be talking about this very soon, but those famous guards that stand outside Buckingham Palace. Alright, let's move on. So today we're going to be looking at 4 different topics within British culture, yeah? So first of all, why don't we start off with number 1. Sorry, laser pointer. Oh my gosh, too many buttons. As I said earlier, first one, let's have a look at the Royal Guard. These are the people who protect the King or the Queen. Unfortunately, Queen Elizabeth, she passed away very recently, so now it is the King in charge. And these Royal Guards, they are in charge of protecting the King, yeah? So let's have a quick look at this video from YouTube. I hope you can hear the audio. There we go. I will say I've never actually seen the Royal Guard like marching in a large group like this while playing music. But anyway, let's move on. Okay. I hope that wasn't too loud. So first of all, the thing we're going to look at today is those special hats that they wear on their head. Yeah, so I have a few questions for you. First of all, what is the material? What are these hats made of? How much do they cost? How much does it cost to buy one hat? And how heavy do you think these are? Okay, the first one I'm going to give you, it is bearskin pelts. I guess maybe they're warmer than sheepskin, but how much do you think one costs? Maybe £100, 250. That was a good guess. We actually have, yes, £650, so you were not far off. Good job. And then finally, how heavy is it? I'll just give you the answer. It's actually about 600 grams or 0.6 kilos. So yeah, it's quite heavy, right? You know, this is on your head. You're wearing it for a long time. So it's actually quite heavy. Interesting. All right, let's move on. So here, I want to quickly show you, here we have 3 different versions of the hat you can see here. But do you notice Look at these small things here. Let me zoom in for you. You can see there's a red one, there's a blue one, and there's a white and green one. But does anyone know the meaning of these feathers? So these are birds' feathers, but the meaning is actually related to the different parts of the UK. As you can see, we have the UK is a larger country made of England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales, right? Ireland, because of the history, is kind of separate. We normally say like Great Britain, which is just Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and England. But anyway, the different colours here represent the different types of guards. So we have the Coldstream Guard, which I believe are England. We have the Irish Guards, of course, Ireland, and we have the Welsh Guards. So if you go to different parts of the UK and you see maybe the guards wearing these different feathers, you will know they come from England, Wales, and so on. Okay? Now, my main question, why are the hats shaped like this? Yeah, it's a very unusual shape for a hat, right? Very tall and very thin. But why do you think these hats are shaped like this? Well, in the 1800s, there was a very famous French commander. This person was called Napoleon Bonaparte, who was, known for being very aggressive, a very smart military commander. In the 1800s, the UK and France were often fighting against each other in war. We have maybe the British and the French on one side. But actually, the reason why they wore these hats was because these hats actually kind of gave them an advantage because of the shape. Before I tell you the reason, let's have a look at this. Here, we have two types of bears. I'm going to ask you, which bear do you think looks scarier? Is it the one on the left or the one on the right? The standing one? Very good. Yeah, you can see it's much bigger. It's got its mouth open. It's ready to attack, right? That's why sometimes they say, I don't know if this is true, but some people say if you see or find a bear in the forest, to survive, you should try and stand up, make loud noises. And kind of make yourself look big, and then maybe, of course it doesn't always work, but maybe the bear will be quite scared and run away. But yes, we have a crawling bear on the left and a standing bear on the right. Now, why did I talk about standing bears? Well, the reason why these hats are shaped like this is because they were designed to be tall because they wanted to make the enemy feel scared or nervous. These guards, they were the elite, they were the top ranking forces in the British Army. Yeah, so these helped show their status. In other words, these hats were very intimidating. Intimidating something or someone that makes you feel pretty scared or pretty nervous, right? So, for example, we have some examples here. The tall, dark hats were incredibly intimidating. Yeah, they made me feel nervous. Larger animals like lions and bears are more intimidating. My boss had a serious face. He was so intimidating. All right. Oh, actually, before I go on, there was actually one more reason why the hats are tall and thin. Imagine, going back here, we have the army fighting here. It's a very long distance battle. There were a lot of guns. So, by wearing these hats, if you look at them from far away, it's really difficult to see where their head is. And the other people are more likely to miss their shot. Okay, so that was the Royal Guard. Now, let's move on to number 2. Okay, as you can see here, something that is very British. We're going to talk a little bit about tea culture. Now, is it true that Brits drink so much tea. My family is Chinese, so I like to drink a mix of, British tea, Chinese tea. Actually, these days I'm drinking a lot more coffee, so I can say me as a British person, I don't drink so much tea nowadays, but sometimes. Now, question to you guys. Which countries drink the most tea? Okay. So, number 4 is actually the UK. Now, many people think it's like 1 or maybe 2, but actually we're not that high. We drink a lot of tea, but not as much as number 3. Number 3, we have Iran. Very nice, well done. And then we have the next one. What country is this? Very good. We have Ireland. Oh, sugar! I pressed the wrong button. Anyway, so we have Ireland number 2, and number 1 is actually... What country is number 1? Turkey. Okay, so those are the top 4 countries that drink the most tea. Now, going on to the UK, according to the data and statistics, about 84% of British people drink tea every day. Now, in my opinion, I think more people drink coffee nowadays because it's got more caffeine. People think they feel more awake when they drink coffee, so I think coffee is more common. But anyway, so next one, let's have a look. This is a very famous brand of tea from the UK, but can anyone tell me what brand this is? Any ideas? Yeah, what is the name? Lipton, nice try. It is not Lipton. Lipton is very popular though. It is actually Twinings. Yeah, Twinings is a very high luxury brand of tea. You can buy it in most parts of the world. I think it's exported from the UK to many places. Okay? All right. Let's move on. Before tea wasn't always so popular in the UK, and actually, coffee was quite popular. Now, today, it's still popular, but before, coffee was much more popular than tea. But also, not just coffee, because coffee was quite an expensive luxury good, right? I'm talking about maybe 1700s. The normal average person like you and me, we couldn't buy so much coffee. It was very expensive. So instead, we had these 2 things. Can anyone tell me, what are these 2 drinks on the right here? Let me zoom in here. Can anyone tell me? Beer on the right, very good. It is beer, and on the left. So actually, we have coffee, gin. A gin and tonic is quite a popular drink, and then we have beer. Okay. Before British people drank coffee and tea, gin and beer were much more popular. They were kind of low cost, and actually you can see on the right here, many people actually made them at home. They had these places called breweries. Brew means to make alcoholic drink. Many people made gin and beer at home because it was much cheaper than buying coffee. So a lot of people drank a lot more gin and beer. Now, how did tea become so popular? Well, it actually began in the 1800s, where this famous company called the East India Trading Company, they sold and traded a lot of different goods to the UK. As you know, the UK is quite famous for colonizing and taking over many countries all over the world, but the East India Trading Company, they gathered a lot of goods from especially Asia and India, things such as spices, such as fabrics, and of course, tea. Yeah, and coffee and tea were 2 of the most popular imports from their journeys and from their travels. Now, let's have a look at the beginning here. We have a very famous part of tea culture here in the UK. Here we have afternoon tea. Yeah, when you go to London, a lot of people want to try afternoon tea, right? It's such a British thing to try. I will tell you right now, British people do not have afternoon tea that often. Nothing like this, where there are like scones, sandwiches, biscuits. Like, this is way too luxurious for most people. But this afternoon tea culture, this really started to take off and become more popular in the 1840s. All over the UK, it was very normal to have dinner much later than we do nowadays. They had it at around 8 or 9 p.m, as you can see here. But nowadays, we have supper, or dinner, at about, I don't know, maybe like 6 p.m, normally around 6 or 7 p.m. But back then, it was much later, okay? And we have the very important woman who was responsible for afternoon tea. This was Anna Russell. She was an aristocrat, that is like the wife of a very high-ranking person. She was, this fancy lady. And she had a problem. Because dinner and supper was so late, around the afternoon, maybe like 1 p.m, 2 p.m, she often got pretty hungry during the afternoon, but she didn't want this like huge meal because, of course, then she wouldn't want dinner. So, similar to kind of brunch that we have nowadays, afternoon tea was like a mini lunch to close the gap between breakfast and dinner. So, Anna Russell often had these kind of like tea parties because she had this afternoon tea by herself at the beginning, but she realized, oh, this is actually quite nice. It's very relaxing. I really enjoy it, but I'm a bit lonely. So she started to kind of invite her friends. It became this kind of social event, and it became this really nice event. Now, here, I'm going to teach you a new word, but first I want you to guess. This word means very comfortable and expensive. Things, for example, like jewelry, a house, or maybe a lifestyle, something that's very comfortable, very expensive. We have the word luxurious, okay? Now be careful with the stress. It's not luxurious, it's luxurious. So the stress is on the second syllable. But with the noun, it's luxury. Luxury. Adjective, luxurious. Okay, so just be careful of that. For example, I want to work hard so that when I retire, I can have a luxurious lifestyle. Have your own personal yacht, a personal chef, a maid, all of this wonderful stuff to make your life comfortable, but pretty expensive. Okay, right, let's move on. Here you can see an old newspaper article from the tea table, an old picture of what these high-class tea parties looked like. So thanks to Anna Russell, we have this culture today. Now, question, afternoon tea. How much does afternoon tea cost today? How much do you think in pounds? How much do you think a normal set, something like this, sandwiches, a pot of tea, some scones, a few biscuits, how much do you think this costs in like a normal hotel in London? The answer is actually £65. 65! Now, of course, this is, nice once in a while, but I would not buy this. It's nice, but £65, that's a lot. Now, quick question. Can I type here? Here you can see a menu from one of these hotels. Looking at this menu, how much do you think a traditional afternoon tea with a glass of Nye Timber Rose MV? I have no idea. I think this is like red wine or something. How much does this cost on a Sunday? It is actually £90. You can see traditional afternoon tea with a glass of Nye Timber Rose MV on a Sunday. Alright, yeah, that is way too expensive. I'm really happy that I don't like alcohol. I can save a lot of money because I'm happy with apple juice. Now let's move on to number 3. When it comes to rain, the UK is very famous for this, and that's why we have this special phrase called raining cats and dogs. It's quite famous, very British phrase. If I say, oof, right now it is raining cats and dogs, what does it mean? Oh, raining hard, storm, lots of rain pouring. Very well done, good. So it just means raining very hard. But why did we use this phrase to mean heavy rain? Well, actually first we have to go back in time to London. Now this is a picture of London right now, but if we look back at London in the 1660s, it was a very different place. For example, there you go. This is a very cool picture. You can see it is completely different. We see here, we've got this huge castle in the background. We have this windmill. I don't think I've seen a windmill like this for... Actually, maybe I've never seen one in my life. And then we have all of these like houses. You can see everything is like super close together. Yeah, everything. Like you have so many neighbors. It's just too crowded. Now, there are 2 very important historical events that you need to know before we understand the origin of raining cats and dogs. And these were 2 terrible events. The first one, the Great Fire of London, and we also have the Great Plague. Now, first of all, let's have a look at the one on the left here. We have the Great Fire of London. It was a terrible incident. So many people died. And the interesting thing is, we still now today don't really know what caused the fire, what started the fire. We actually have no idea. Some people say it was somebody cooking, they forgot about the stove, or some people think it was just burning wood in winter and they didn't control the fire. So, one reason why the fire spread so quickly was because 1, the houses were made of wood burns very easily, and 2, the houses were very close together. So, of course, the fire spread so quickly. Let's move on. Another problem, and another reason why the fire spread so quickly was because of this. If we look here, what is this man carrying here? Can you see? What is this object? Very good, it is a bucket. Nice, yeah? So these people were carrying buckets of water from the river. But as you can see, going back here, the river was actually quite far away from many of these houses. Yeah, so maybe just carrying one bucket takes 10 minutes just to go there and back. So it was really tough for them. One problem was that they couldn't extinguish the fires very efficiently. Yeah, extinguish means to get rid of the fire. So let's go back. So that was the Great Fire of London, but there was another terrible incident that killed even more people than the Great Fire, and this was the Great Plague. As you can see here, there is a man. Oh my gosh, that is so loud, I apologize. There was a lot of disease, it was not clean. And actually, in just 18 months, the Black Plague killed 100,000 people. That was a quarter of the London's population. So that was terrible, just as bad as COVID. Okay, can I turn off this? I didn't mean to make it so loud. So if we look at this old map, you can see all of these rats. The disease spread, again similar to the fire. Everybody was super close together and it was a terrible event. After these terrible events, we need to understand a few important words. Do they have a home? No. Do they have an owner? Probably not. Where do they live? They probably live on the streets outside. Question: what do we call an animal that doesn't have a home, that doesn't have an owner, and probably lives on the street? We have the word a stray. Yeah, you can say a stray, Or you can say a stray cat, a stray dog. You can use it as a noun or adjective. For example, there were many stray animals on the streets of London. You can also say there were many strays on the streets of London. Okay? Now, here you can hear the sound of the rain. It is raining cats and dogs right now. But quick question, what do you see here? What is this object, this place where the water goes through? The name of this hole is actually a drain, yeah? Imagine your sink in your kitchen, yeah? The place where the water goes through, that little hole, that is a drain, okay? Very important. We click here, the drains are blocked. Yeah, you can see lots of like small sticks, many leaves that are blocking the drains, and that means the water is not, disappearing so quickly. So there was a big problem with the bad drainage systems. And the next thing, of course, we have heavy rain. And third, flood. This is when the water pools up and it starts to go on the roads and the streets. This is flooding. So the drains are very important. Okay. Now another problem, when an animal or a human, maybe in the ocean, when someone or something dies in the water because they can't breathe, maybe because of wave or flooding, all of these things, what do we call it? 3, 2, 1, let's have a look. It is the word drown. This is a verb. For example, many stray animals, or many strays, drowned in floods of London. So this was a big problem. There are many theories why raining cats and dogs, or how it was made, but one reason was because a famous author, apparently this man is called Jonathan Swift, he wrote a poem. He saw the heavy rain and saw all of these stray cats and dogs drowning in the floods. As you saw earlier, the houses were very old, and these stray cats and dogs, they used to hide or live in the kind of small gaps and the small holes under the houses. But because of the flooding, they often drowned. So when he saw the scene of the cats and dogs drowning in the river, he decided to write a poem about it and described it as raining cats and dogs. Because just writing, oh, it's raining a lot, that's boring, right? So instead of that, he said, it's raining cats and dogs too. Oh, as you can see here, I'm drinking a bit of tea. There we go. This is not, I'm ashamed to say, it's not British tea. This is jasmine tea, common in Chinese culture. Okay, right, let's move on to the last one. Let's have a look at this very cheerful looking woman. Question. In the UK, we use this special phrase, and it's related to this when we're doing this. Literally, what is she doing? How would we describe this? What is this? Ow, my fingers. Here we go. We have fingers crossed, okay? Fingers crossed is a phrase that we use all the time in the UK. I use this. But what does it mean? First, we have to look at these things. If you're Christian, then you probably know what this is. This is a cross or crosses, yeah? These are kind of the symbol of Christianity. Very close. If we zoom in here, you can see Jesus Christ here. He was sacrificed on the cross. Now, this was made of silver, the one on the left here, but the one on the right is made of wood. Now, my question to you, which style or which material was more common in the olden days? This is like maybe 100, 200 years ago. Which style was more common? The answer is actually wood. Yeah? Again, similar to what we talked about earlier. Wood was a cheaper, very easy to get material, yeah? Not so expensive. Wooden crosses were very common. And this is important because in different cultures, we have different religions. For example, in Japan, we have Shintoism. They also have Buddhism. And then in the UK and America, lots of European countries, we have Christianity. These are the different religions. Now, this is important because in Christianity, and maybe other religions as well, we have these things here. Can anyone tell me, what do you see in this picture? We have this maybe man here, but what do you see here? Or on the right, they don't look like normal people. The people who said ghosts and demons, you're pretty much close. These are called spirits, okay? Now, quick point, ghosts and spirits, I don't really know the difference. I use them in the same way. So I think ghosts, spirits, very similar. Demons, on the other hand, are a bit more evil. They're a bit more dangerous, yeah? This is important because actually Christians believed that good spirits exist or live in trees and wood. That's why the crosses were often made of wood, not just because it was a cheap, easy to get material, but also because touching wood was good luck. Yeah, there were good spirits in here, and by touching the wood, you can, bless yourself with good luck. Okay? So that was one reason. So, this is also why we have the phrase touch wood. I apologize, I didn't write it here, but we also say the phrase touch wood. You say this when you want good luck. Like, for example, you've planned a picnic tomorrow, and you think, oh, I hope it doesn't rain tomorrow. Touch wood. And then you touch something wooden, yeah? So touch wood. And then we also have the phrase, when you're hoping for a good result, yeah, similar to this cross, we say, fingers crossed. For example, oh, fingers crossed, you will pass the exam. This is when you want another person to have good luck. Yeah, you don't say this. Actually, no, you do say it for yourself. You can say it to someone else or yourself. I'm going to do well in tomorrow's game. Fingers crossed. Yeah, you can see I'm going to do well myself. Fingers crossed, this time we won't fail. Fingers crossed, this time we won't fail. Okay? What is this man doing? What is happening? Oh! We have a very quick answer from very nice. We have a sneeze. If I go, ah! That is a sneeze. And this is a verb. Oh, I can't stop sneezing because I've got a cold. When we sneeze, in many English-speaking countries, when someone sneezes, we usually say, any ideas? What's the magic phrase? Or, very well done, we say, bless you, or God bless you. Yeah, God bless you is even more formal than bless you, but most people just say bless you. All right, and here we have a kind of gross, disgusting image here. I don't know if this is true, but a theory of why we say bless you is because if we go quickly back to here, back in those days, 200, 300 years ago, disease was spreading so quickly. We didn't know so much about viruses today. We didn't know about quarantine, and we didn't have vaccines. People thought that these viruses, the flu and disease, were actually not viruses, but they were bad spirits, almost demons and ghosts, yeah, bad spirits. So when people saw somebody sneezing, they said, oh, bless you. They wanted good luck. They said, I hope God gets rid of the demons inside of your body. They believed that if you sneeze, it means there's a demon inside of you. So going back to the end, we have two nice phrases, fingers crossed and bless you, okay? Also touch wood, I forgot to write that, I apologize, but these are all nice phrases to use if you're in any English-speaking country.
I hope you enjoyed today's seminar, and in the future I will be uploading more English seminars on topics such as psychology and animals, and there will be vocabulary exercises and discussion activities, so that you can get chances to input and output more English. But for today, thank you very much for watching, have a wonderful day, and bye for now.